Hi there, Lonnie here. Today I'm gonna show you guys my smokescreen build that I use for solo squads and duo squads. And yeah, next up is gonna be the sensor drone build. I'm gonna be doing these guides for every major patch for Assassin, so you will always find the updated versions of my builds on my channel, hopefully. And yeah, enjoy the video and see you guys tomorrow. Before we go into detail on how to approach the different most viable builds in Season 4, I'll briefly show you my item and talent build. Item wise, we're gonna run Blink, Smokescreen, the Realm Rifle and a Slug Rifle for early to mid game, but we will try to transition to a Sniper Rifle in the late game. The reason I'm taking the Realm Rifle over the Slug Rifle in this setup is that we're going to be as close as possible to our enemies where we can really make use of that high DPS. The Smokescreen is going to be our cover, so we don't have to rely on peeking at all. Talents you wanna run are Restoration or Vigor, Bog Box, Forge Smokescreen, Forge Realm Rifle, Forge Blink, Chicken Speed, Movement Speed, Thermal Protection, and most importantly, Subterfuge and Assassin's Arsenal. Again, generally you want to play as aggressive as possible with this build to really make use of the extra movement speed from the Smokescreen and the high DPS on the Realm Rifle. In most scenarios, you will want to spot a Smokescreen as close as possible to your enemy, blink into it and burst them down as fast as possible, all while being covered by both your shield from Thermal Protection as well as the Smokescreen. Let's go into detail how exactly we want to beat the most viable builds that are running around in Season 4. Let's start with the Warrior. The most viable weapon for the Warrior is still the axe, which makes it a tough opponent for close quarters combat, which is exactly where we want fights to take place. However, because we do have extra movement speed in the Smokescreen, it's gonna be extremely difficult for the Warrior to hit us if we strafe well enough. Most of the time the Warrior will not use the leap to get out of the Smokescreen because they falsely come to the conclusion that they want to be as close as possible to us. A lot of people heavily underestimate how strong exactly the Smokescreen can be if used correctly. The extra movement speed as well as a very high Realm Rifle DPS plus a burst shot from the Sniper Rifle is too much to take for anyone. Next up we have the Longbow Hunter. The Smokescreen build works a lot better against the Longbow Hunter than the Concussion Bomb build I talked about in the other guide. Again, you want to try to get as close as possible, throw the Smokescreen, blink into it and start bursting down the Hunter. Even if the Hunter is running Flare, which you might think counters the Smokescreen, you will still have the extra movement speed paired with the Realm Rifle, which gives you a huge advantage up close. The Hunter will usually try to get away using this withdrawal, which is where the important part of the fight begins. Do the exact opposite as with the Kong Snipe loadout. Keep pushing the Hunter as much as possible. As soon as the Hunter gets in cover, they're going to have a huge peeking advantage. Try spamming in the direction you're hearing the Hunter move. Unlike with the Slug Rifle, you have a way higher fire rate and the chance to tag the Hunter once isn't all that low. If you hit the shot, the fight should be over without much of a problem. However, if the Hunter gets in cover, you might want to completely start the fight fresh without any cooldowns. Against the Ghostwalk Iceblock Mage, our tactic will vary a lot from what we do against Warriors and Hunters. We need a way more defensive strategy because not only can the mage block too much damage, which is a huge deal in a fight up close, but also does the Ice Up hit us and slow us down at the same time in the Smokescreen, which basically completely negates our ability. So in order to beat the mage, we gotta be at mid distance, which is actually really good to achieve with our build. If you think about it, you can use the Smokescreen as a sprint to get away from the mage and keep baiting out cooldowns. It sure isn't pretty, but if we drag the fight out long enough for the mage to use the Ghost Walk, they won't be able to use Ice Block, Ghost Walk, Ice Block in a second fight, which is exactly the time window in which we have the upper hand. And lastly, we have the Assassin. The Kong Snipe Assassin is the most difficult build to beat with the Smokescreen Assassin. The Kong has a way shorter cooldown than the Smokescreen. You're gonna be thrown into mid-range where the Slug outclasses the enemy, and if we use the Blink, we have no tool to interrupt the Kong Snipe. So how do we beat it? We have to get close without using the Blink, which is pretty hard to pull off against the Concussion Bomb Assassin. But if we manage to pull it off, we can make the final few meters with the Smokescreen and start shooting at them with the Realm Rifle, which is gonna force out a Concussion Bomb, which we counter by immediately blinking as close as possible to the Assassin and keep spamming them. This is gonna force out a Blink, which is when we switch to the Sniper Rifle to get a final shot in. Very important is that we do not let them use the second Kong, since we have no tool left to defend against that one. So as a conclusion, we burst down the Warrior, we chase the Hunter, we play defensive against the Mage, and wait for openings against the Assassin. Yo, thanks for watching the video. Leave a like if you liked it, subscribe if you want to see more content like this in the future, and yo, see you guys around. Have a good day, bye bye.